We've come through this year that has been in many ways a depth plunge into shadow, into some of the darkness. And the Z's have said many times, and this particularly came up around a question around conspiracy theories that came a good few years ago. And it also helped me focus my mind. They said, you have to be mindful that anything that you are focusing on as truth and believing it is going to happen, you are also helping to create. And they said, you as visionaries with your visionary minds would do far better to vision and create the world that you would like to see than to try and fight some of the lowest points that you see happening on the earth. And as I say this, I'm aware what I'm saying could be quite controversial, because there are people in our group and there are people in my life and my world who are what I would call freedom fighters or activists, people who put themselves very much on the front line of making change. And to me, they are light workers with a very specific role. But the reason it was important to hear that for me, and I think for many of us, is you might not feel like you're supposed to be the person on the front line of a certain issue or area. And that is not necessarily cowardice or you not being willing to look at it. I think it's very easy for sensitive people who feel responsible about the suffering in the world to get down on themselves if you think, oh God, am I doing enough over here? And the thing to pay attention to is, where is your energy best flowing and where is it moving you into a high vibration most of the time? Because those that I know who are freedom fighters, who are activists, they were born to do it. They were born to be it. It lights them up. It's what keeps them going. It's what drives them. And equally, perhaps you at the age of 59 have never felt like you're a freedom fighter, and all of a sudden you're getting very mobilized about getting into some of these issues, which is equally great because it's giving you an energy and it's calling you in. But one of the things that the Z's have really talked about is us finding our individual place and trusting the tribe of all of us, trusting that all of us doing the thing that we are meant to do creates a net. And we can't do it all. None of us can do it all or be everything to everybody, even though I'm sure if you're a mother, that's something that you've tried many times, or if you're a father, that's something you've tried many times, because I know that when you have kids, that starts to extend. But equally, there are many of us who don't have children who might operate the same way, who might put our parenting energy into our friends group or our work or whatever it is. But this is really a time for many where they are finding their thing, finding their purpose. Or you're going through a really awkward year right now where everything you thought was real in your life or in the world or in your work is no longer quite working, and you're still in that middle place where you haven't quite created the next thing yet, but you're in that awkward middle ground. So what I do know about the energetics from what they've been telling me over the last few days is that we will start to see from July onwards this year, we will start to see the energy flow of us as a collective start to normalize again, start to go more towards where it was prior to March 2020. It won't be quite the same, but it will start to flow our collective energy again. And for some of you, that flow energy that's going to start again from July is going to be all you need to kind of light that little fire under you to do the thing that you want to do. But if any of you are trying to rebirth your work or your life, if you catch yourself being hard on yourself, which we are prone to do as human beings, try and remember that, rebirth is messy. It's like a birth. I know some women who had extraordinary labors and said, wow, it was kind of easy and peaceful. But I know more women, a lot more women in my life who will tell me about the up and down journey of their labor and their giving birth, bringing this life onto the planet. And when we're rebirthing ourselves, it's no different. And right now, we're at the very beginning of a rebirth in our collective. So up comes the shadow, the pain, the trauma, the suffering. And it's interesting because one of the things that the Z's have been talking a lot about for the last few years, and I personally have noticed myself being able to act on this in a stronger way this last 6 months, or kind of probably the last 2 years, but especially the last 6 months. They've talked about the importance of creating joy, because joy is a high frequency energy. So the times where I have felt in my life, oh, I'm not going to be creating joy today. That's not quite where I'm at. How I get my joy engine going is I turn my attention to something that is joyous. Unless I feel like I'm supposed to stay where I am. You know, some mornings you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm moving something today. Okay, this is a bit of a healing day. I might be a little more inward, a little more introverted. Something's moving through me in response to the last week I've had. And this relates back to the other piece that the Z's were talking to me about, which made me laugh because, of course, it made me think about my coffee this morning and the rug, which I will probably be spraying some kind of spray on when I get home in a couple of hours. But I did a pretty good job. I'd just like to say it took 25 minutes worth of scrubbing and you almost can't see it. The thing that they were talking about was acceptance, and how surrendered are we to the life that we are living. And it made me think of the coffee, and I thought, well, actually, by the end of my 25 minutes, my energy was different. I felt different. I'd accomplished something. But it really goes back to the kind of fight that I think we can get into at a time like this with ourselves. If we're not happy with the world, if we've swallowed a lot of fear, or if we're unearthing a lot of fear in ourselves, it can be an anxiety-producing moment. So your choices are, okay, I'm going to surrender to this anxiety, this fear, this unrest I have, or I'm going to surrender in a different way, and I'm going to find tools that will support it, because I recognize it's not really moving, it's just kind of stuck, and I need to move it out. So I'll either ask a friend if I can talk to them about it, or if I'm able to, I'll find a healer or a person to hold space for me, or I'll find something online, or I'll go into the portal and I'll turn on one of the videos or the audios, or I'll read what some of the community members are saying. I will go to higher vibrational support places that can bring my energy back. So that's bringing ourselves to neutral when we're struggling. But then on top of neutral, we can build and create joy. And, you know, we all have many voices in us, many aspects of personality, many healed and unhealed parts that make up who we are. And one of the things that I think is a very ingrained voice in the healer mind, I know I had it, all the people I've worked with have had it or have it at times, is that whole idea of, well, how can I create joy when this person I know is suffering? Or how can I be in joy today if I know that something awful is going on over in that country? And the argument around that is, okay, great. If that suffering is distracting you from creating joy so much, find a way to go and serve or help that suffering. And if you go, you're right, I'm going to do this thing to serve and help that suffering, or I'm going to sit and meditate towards that suffering and send some love, and that's how I'm going to serve and help the suffering. It might not be a physical action, it might be an energetic action or movement. But equally, if that gets you stuck and you're like, oh, well, I'm not really feeling anything, that's just guilt. That's just a feeling of, well, I'm not allowed to be there if they're not there. And the truth is, and if you've ever been in one of my workshops, or if I talk about this in a couple of the courses, my big epiphany around running live work took me years to get there. And I think it's a common mistake for us healers, is I would focus on the people in the room who were struggling or who couldn't quite reach the middle level of the room. And what I soon learned was, if I were to focus on the people in the middle level of the room and somewhat towards the people in the top level of the room, if I sent my energy to those people and I was a conduit for that energy group, what would happen is the room would lift quicker. And as the room lifted, the people in the lower level, the people on the bottom, would start to not only come up, but if they weren't coming up, they would erupt more what they needed to erupt to come up. And there would have been so many more people resonating at a higher vibration that could support them and that could help them and that could lift them up or give them a hug or whatever it was they needed. I wasn't abandoning the people on the lower level by focusing more on the middle and the high, because I would, tend to them. If there was a crisis that erupted, I could tend to them for a moment, but then I would go back to focusing on the middle and the high. It's the same with us as one entity. So if we focus on our low state, if we focus on our, and I do it too. I had it this morning. Trust me, when that coffee went, I was like, oh no, this is not what I wanted. I wanted to sit here quietly and peacefully and just, kind of enter my day calmly. And the universe had different ideas. And so did I, clearly. So I think there is something in this around creating joy. And I don't know how you're taking what I'm saying right now, but I will tell you that when we talk about creating joy, it tends to stir up a lot of resistance and a lot of pain for us. And for me too, I kind of get it. Like, layers of allowing joy are something that we have to work on as we go through life. And the more we heal, the more we can allow joy to be present. But if we've had a lot of trauma, or if we've had a life where joy wasn't demonstrated to us, or it wasn't safe to be in joy because someone else might attack you or pull you down. Hello, everyone who grew up in England and Australia. I see you, I feel you, I hear you. Then the idea of creating joy is a little triggering to us. It's a little bit like, oh, can I? Am I allowed to create joy? And the thing that Z's have said that's really important right now is us creating that higher frequency of joy in ourselves, for ourselves, permeates out and allows everyone else to rise. So if you create joy for yourself in your life, everyone else benefits. And let's just put one little caveat in there. You're in a room with 3 of your family members and 3 of them are in horrible crisis, very upset, something devastating has happened, and you're running around going, yeah, let's be in joy. Yeah, that's not quite going to work. So it isn't about hitting other people over the head with your joy or being angry at them if they can't find your joy, but it's recognizing, when did I last feel in joy? And because this is a triggering question, I always say start with peace if joy feels too far off. So in the times I was the most depressed or challenged in my life, what I recognized was I had to find an improvement on the heavy feeling. I wasn't necessarily going to feel like I was running down the street having a party. I wasn't going to go from this to this. There was a middle ground. And the middle ground was this to this. We shared this on the social media pages yesterday, and I'll bring it to you because I know not everyone is on social media, but one of the joys for me in the last few months and one of my resets has been the music of an incredible group called Beautiful Chorus. And it was India Ari who introduced them to me. And India's music is heaven. So to get that recommendation from her and Beautiful Chorus create this frequency shifting music. So they are the kind of music that will reset you, that will just kind of bring you back to calm. And from there, you can build joy. So to come full circle back to where I started with that message from the Z's that we are learning to heal ourselves. Because the intensity on planet Earth ratcheted up in a certain way over the last year or so, there can be a tendency for us to go, oh, my old things aren't working. But actually, well, they won't be working because they will no longer be a balance point with the new Earth and the new collective consciousness we're in now, because it's changed. So we will have to figure out some new things, some new strategies, some new tools, some new musicians, some new art, some new acts of creativity. And it will also involve some new people, some new friends. Doesn't mean the old ones have to go away. Maybe they will too. But as you change and as we go through this huge change, a lot of people are getting clearer about what they do want and do need, and equally what they don't want and don't need. And sometimes you find yourself in that awkward middle place where what you do want and do need is here, but you're not there yet. You know what you don't want and you know what you don't need. So you kind of act on that and then you move this way, but then you're like going, where do I go? Where do I go? There's nothing here. I need puppet gloves, maybe. So that's this middle place that I was speaking about that I know many of you will be in. But equally, I can feel the many of you in this group who are like, yeah, I hear everything you're saying, and I feel really present and really alive and really lit up and excited about things. And I guess I'm here to tell you all of the feelings can be welcome. None of us are going to be excited all day for 3 months. It just doesn't really happen like that. We're multidimensional beings in an energy ocean. So if you feel like you've been allowing and celebrating the low feelings a lot and the heavy feelings a lot, it's time to strategize how to lift those a little bit, how to bring yourself to some peace and give yourself some relief from those and recognize that as a marker point. Oh, for example, I was really down and then I put Beautiful Chorus's album on and 20 minutes later I feel a bit more peaceful. So that's great. That's a success. You don't have to be in joy or excitement. That can come later. But build your new baseline toward peace. And then when we build toward peace, we go toward joy, and joy can come. Hi, you've been watching an extract from one of my monthly broadcasts for our portal community, the Energy Tune-Up. Every month I do them for 90 minutes, and I also take questions both from my own vantage point as an energy intuitive, and then I channel my guides, the Z's, and they interact with the questions in our community. So here is a little glimpse into what you experience as a portal member in case you wanted to consider trying it out for a month and seeing if it's for you. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the portal. The portal is my monthly members community, and we have been going for almost 8 years. Some have called it a sanctuary for sensitives. It's a place where I get to offer you tools to help you thrive, survive, and expand your life. So every month I get to bring in-depth teaching, specially curated content, and we do all of this in a private community. Over the years, my energy updates have become popular, but the thing about reading for everybody and the amount of people who tune into those now is we don't always necessarily get to specify. Every month, I do a 90-minute live broadcast, which is archived and available for replays for many months afterwards, where not only do I do an in-depth energy read for the portal member community, I also take live questions. So we have some pre-submitted questions, but we have a lot of live on-air questions. I stopped doing personal sessions a couple of years ago, so this is a great way to get your question answered, but also through this curated questioning, we get to uplift as a community because the thoughts, the concerns, the hopes that are on the community's mind get looked at, and the energy tune-up becomes a healing call as a result. Secondly, you will receive that month's latest MP3. Every single month, we create a brand new MP3 that is usually a channel from my guides, the Z's, with sound healing and often with an original song at the end, which I create in collaboration with Slovenian sound healer and composer Davor Bozik. These MP3s are designed to support you with what's going on in current energies and essentially to be an hour of audio medicine that you can listen to that month and forever in the future. Many people revisit these MP3s time and time again. We also have a classics library, 8 of my past titles that are favorites, that rotate every 5 months so that you get to go deeper with some recordings you may have otherwise missed or not been able to find in the past. Stephen Washington, my husband, delivers Qigong videos and teaching every single month that's exclusive to those of you in the portal. He creates a Qigong sequence that he bases on the themes of that month's energy update. Usually this is around 30 minutes long, and it remains in the portal as an archive for a full year after its first broadcast. So you immediately have access to 12 Qigong sequences on video from Stephen. Stephen also creates a short meditation every single month. These are around 7-8 minutes long because I wanted them to be short enough for you to use very easily, and he has created these with Davor Bozik. As a welcome bonus gift, when you join the portal, you will find Intuitive Power, the full video recording of our one-day event in London that kicked off our Intuitive Power tour. It's approximately 5 hours. It features myself and Stephen. If you've never been able to get to a live event, it's a great way to experience the live energy in the room and also learn some things about intuition, your body, and wellness along the way. And finally, my favorite thing is our Facebook community. Our Facebook community is a private group, so it allows people to have discussions, engage with each other, and support each other in the privacy of a contained group. So along with special discounts for portal members, we managed to bring all of this to you at an incredibly affordable fee every month. So if you want to try the portal, see if it resonates with you for a month, we would love to have you join us, try it out, and we hope you stay, because we love serving our members and we love curating and creating the portal every single month.